Bronie here again for another day in Bronie's world, and I hope you absolutely enjoyed what I put up with Sean Brown yesterday at our event here on the Gold Coast. Today I'm going to share with you his talk on do you see you in Youngevity? This is a great business plan, it's a great model, and it's something that everyone can do. So enjoy that, my friends. And it's now over to you, Sean.
I'd love to have a PDF. Is this presentation and I'll send it? All right. So I'm going to assume that prior to doing this, you really need to have a conversation with someone and just get to know them. It's building the relationship, talking about what's important, understanding what matters. Nothing to do with the business, right? Tom and Denise call it a coffee shop interview. I call it building a relationship of trust. Whatever it is, it should not be about longevity at all. It should just be getting to know them and finding out what matters to them, what is important, and discussing health in general, just as a thing. And so if you do that, then you'll have some background and understand a little. So you'll hear me referencing this prior conversation that I had in the presentation, because that varies, right? So this is really that presentation. So I would say, right, going back to Karen, I would say, hey, Karen, do you have 10 minutes that I can just, Karen would probably ask me, what do you do? I said, well, I can tell you what I do, but it'll probably take about 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes because it's not easy to explain. I promise I'll keep it under 10 minutes. Promise. I just want to share. Yeah, sure, go ahead. So I'm going to say something like, I'm going to tell you, well, back about 10 years ago, this is where you tell your story. So for me, 10 years ago, 12 years, my wife started a jewelry. It grew, and it did really well. And we turned it into this thing called part of something. And we had thousands of people joining us. It was going fairly well, but it was hard, and we were not super interested in owning it forever because the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Meaning the amount of money we were making for the effort that we were putting into it, even though our sales were millions of dollars, was not great. And we just didn't really love being business owners, although we loved the idea of owning our time, which we did not do with this business. And somewhere along the line, during that time, I met this guy named Scott Ferguson. And Scott told me that Youngevity might be interested in buying our business. So we connected with Scott, and sure enough, about 3 or 4 months later, Youngevity purchased our business, which was really cool. But I also was a little bit nervous because I was not a health nut. I didn't know anything about supplements. I didn't know anything about the products. And Scott gave me this dang little thing about dead doctors don't lie. And dead doctors don't lie was super interesting, right? Because dead doctors don't lie was really about this man named Dr. Wellman. And I started listening to him. And at first I was very skeptical. But about 15 minutes in, I found myself nodding. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. And he was talking about the fact that he had done these 20,000 autopsies over the course of 10 years, which is a huge task. I don't know anybody that's done research. And he was talking about how he found that most disease and most bad health could be avoided if you gave your body what it needed from a nutritional standpoint. It needed to be in the right form, it needed to be the right things. But if you did that, your body is a miracle, and it would take that stuff and it would fix a lot of your issues. He found that almost all the things he looked at, bodies of animals and humans, the problems were malnutrition and absorption. So he set out to have this thing called plant-based nutrition, which was really quite the feat because it's not easy to get. You can't get all these vitamins and minerals and get them out of plants if it's not in the soil. So as you know, there's not a lot of it in the soil. In fact, he identified 90, not 19, 90 vitamins and minerals that your body needs. Where in the heck are you going to get that from an apple that grows on the tree in bad soil? So he knew that was a problem, right? And yet he knew that it had to absorb the right way. So he set on this mission to kind of find out how to make that. He calls the products 90 essential vitamins and minerals, or 90 per. Now, those products are 3 products, and I'll tell you about in a second. But he found out that all these products, all these vitamins and minerals could be provided, but they had to be based in plant-based nutrition. Why plant-based nutrition? Because plants have digestive systems. And when the plant digests the vitamin and mineral, it does all the work for you and breaks it down into particles that your body loves to absorb. Let me give you an example. If you go down to your local grocery store and you buy a multivitamin, it's most likely synthetic, meaning it's been made by machines. I have to tell you, that's better than most people think. So at least you're getting something. But Dr. Walling found that that product, no matter which one it is, only absorbs about 10% of your body, because if the body sees it as synthetic and says, too much work for me, not going to do it, right? And it just goes ahead and kicks out 90%, it keeps about 10%. Now, those numbers can fluctuate based on your diet, sugar, gluten, but that's generally what it is. And so he wanted to get these products that were completely plant-based, so that they were 98%, up to 98%, which he has done. Again, he puts out some good foods and bad foods listing you have to take, you have to not, in order to get the maximum. But even if you didn't do that, your results would be so fantastic. And so he did that. And he set on this mission for 20 years. He went out telling everybody he knew about it. He built an army of distributors, and he created. And that company became Youngevity. And that's where I work too. Okay? So really it's about elevating your health and the groundwork, which I just talked about. So that wasn't enough for him. He realized that not only did you need your health, your physical health, because if you don't have that, you don't have, but you need your mental health and your financial health, right? And so he wanted to really encompass this. That's why he chose this industry, is because he really wanted to provide it to everybody and make it completely available and not have to sell things on shelves that didn't have explanations. The great thing about people like me, other distributors that sell these products, is that we explain the why behind it, which you wouldn't get on social. And they're really quite premium products, which would be too expensive. And so it's just quite an industry. So that was his vision. And he wanted to make sure that we would integrate Youngevity into our lives. And that's super important, because he wanted to help you build a check. And then I go into the platform. Bankruptcy avoidance, all about that. But that's the idea, right? Is that I'm going to help you create a little bit of financial freedom. Now, the great thing about having your own store, products that are all these kinds of great, fantastic products that you just want. We've got products for all different things of body, all different things that address all different kinds of stuff. And we literally have thousands of products, but the main ones are so that you can actually buy for yourself and get others to buy for themselves. Then that helps you create that financial freedom, which leads to time freedom, which is the most valuable. So I saw myself all of a sudden after listening to the doctor's right, as like a believer in what was happening, because I believed what he was saying. Did you know that Dead Doctors Don't Lie speech that Scott he has been downloaded and sold 4 times in Michael Jackson's records? That there's been over 1,000 companies that started just off of this research because he made it free. We also know that he sued the FDA on mineral, just one, called selenium, which is super important, and other areas of your body. And he did that and paid over $1 million for it, just so he could make it available. In fact, baby formula across the United States now has selenium because of his lawsuit. And so he was the first one to ever sue the FDA. And it is an incredible, incredible man, incredible vision. And as I get older and I watch my parents age and watch everybody age around me, I just have come to believe how valuable our health is. I don't miss a day without taking it. All right. So the reason, Karen, I shared all of that with you, I know it was a lot, is so that you could see you and me. Now, everybody I share this finds a place. About 80% choose to become a customer, buy some products, and that's wonderful. So if I had 10 people I told the story to, 8 of them say, I'll just be a customer and I'll purchase the products. And that's wonderful. That's what you want to do, because I think it'll change your life and you'll feel the difference almost immediately. And I'll walk you through how to take them. But 15%, so about 1.5, not that I'm some 1.5, but the numbers across the board say about 1.5 people will become a distributor. Meaning they're trying to make $200, $300, $400, $500, and I can help them. Right? It is doable, possible, and you don't have to make a organization. The other one is 5% will decide to make this up, become an influencer, and just blow it up and become a large business. But very few do that, and I only encourage those to do that really want it, because otherwise you just get frustrated. Okay. So my key thing is finding the place where you fit best. So Karen, out of those 3 areas that I just described in the story I just described, do you have any questions, and where do you see yourself in? So my first thing is, just from this is sales, hardcore sales training. She's told me she wants to buy. I see so many people just keep selling. And don't do that. Yes, she said yes. She also gave me a lead on being a distributor, not a hardcore yes on the distributor, a hardcore yes on the customer, and a lead on the distributor. So as a salesperson, what do? I take the order. Don't go, oh, great. Let's talk about how you make $500 a month. No, no. Get the order. Lock that up. Get some products that work for her. Say, I'm going to get this going. As soon as the products arrive, I'm going to call them. Should take them. Show you how to take them. And see if you like the taste. See if you're comfortable. If we have other options. Right? I'm going to walk you through all that. Once you're comfortable with the products, you'll start to get your own testimony. Then, if you're interested, at that point, I will show you how to make it and share it. Does that sound like? Now, I'm not pushing. She loves that because that's what she said yes to. I just have to follow up. We have a retention team that calls people in the United States that haven't ordered in trainings. So we're asking about a team of people. They do over 500,000. And it's 5 or 6. All they do is call people. Number one reason that they haven't reordered from the field, by the way, when you get a sale, it's paid. But why, the number one reason you think that they didn't order the sale?
They didn't open the box.
Back up home, they never opened the box. Never even opened it. Okay? Like I am telling you, over 50% of people that get orders every month, new people, never get a follow-up call. So that is where the crime is in this industry. So I did all this work. Karen's super excited. I sent her the products. And because I'm worried about confrontation, about her not liking it, canceling the order, I never call. Now, she might say, I like these 2 products, but this BTT, I don't like the flavor. Great, we have another option. Let's talk about it. Right? And at the end of the day, if she doesn't take BTT, is she breaking the Bible at Youngevity? No, she's taking the other 2 products. Yes, BTT contains 90+% of the 90. Really important. But it's not the end of the world. We can get her on something else that's more. So my point is like do that. And then once I have her comfortable, I'm going to call her 30 days later or even 2 weeks. Have you noticed the difference in your energy, taking when you're taking anything like that? Yeah, I actually have. Okay, write that testimonial down and send it. An email. And then I'm going to work with how to share it and how to share it. Right? And I'm going to teach her first how to get customers. And then we'll go from here. Unless she's done this before, she's that, then I'm just going to wrap her up right away. Right? But it just depends. I need to be careful with this. Okay? Because people in today's world, as you know, don't want to be sold. Right? They just want their needs met. It's a totally different thing. Right?
Farmers to get that person.
I'd really go for the 300 club, which is 3 and 300. So I'm at this point been a teacher that just plays smarter and qualifier. Still getting shorter the products and all that. Take them. But now I'm going to work on customers or distributors. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to. She gets 3 people that are placing orders even better at her relationship. Now she's probably making $50, $75 a month, maybe. Right? Especially if they order some of these products over here, it's more. Right? Now the magic number is $100. Once somebody's getting a check for $100 a check, like they're like, right? Like when I first company I ever did was Juice Plus, and I remember my wife was doing that. She got sold by her friend, and her friend was like needed to qualify, so she put people under my wife. My wife did not. But she put people on my wife, so we started getting this check. I was like, you should do more of that. Right? I remember thinking I hit it network marketing. I was like, you can do that. That's cool. Right? Like once you start seeing that come in, and it's free. And then we got that check. Right? So my point being is that we have people in Youngevity. So So I think that there's an idea to I believe that's true. So we definitely have the products. Great thing about Youngevity is that our CEO, meaning that he's always thinking about this and latest. So you see some. So he's really on top of that. Because of that, Youngevity has stable, strong sales are not the sexiest or most to the millennials, or whatever, but we are you can trust our company. It's working.
Do you think they will work on trying to change that to attract more?
We would like to, right? And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard
and
to
change some packaging, especially.
yes, we're always changing packaging. You can see with the
Well, thank you, Sean, and thank you everyone for checking that out. Come back tomorrow to see the 3rd part of Sean's talk with us here on the Gold Coast. I just loved them all, so I had to share them all with you. And as I ask you nicely here in Bronie's World, to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you are taking hold of your future, grabbing it with both hands, and stop with all the negative that's going on in the world, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's World.